What is going on, guys? Winner Kills here, and welcome to another locals feature match. Here we are in round 3 from my locals this past Saturday. We've got VW on the left versus Zombie Eldlich on the right. Keep in mind, this is pre-list, not that VW really changes that much. I mean, they do get a second E-Tele. Crossout Designator is technically on the way, but these are going to be the last set of feature matches that go up pre-ban list, because this Saturday our locals will be playing the new list, and with it I'll have new list matches to show you guys next week. But taking a look at the poll here, really no surprise to see that VW is in the lead by quite a bit. So let's see if you guys are correct. VW getting things started here, going first, leading with City into Lao Lao. It's almost the right VW. You're probably looking for City Lulu, but City Lao Lao, I guess, will have to suffice. Lao Lao is just going to come in clutch to dump a Qinglong to the grave. And then we'll see him activate Qinglong to go ahead and add a Lulu from deck to hand, which is a great card to get here. Discarding another Qinglong. Now activating the Lulu. And that is probably going to resolve here unless our opponent has a Ash for it. Be a pretty good thing to Ash in this deck, but I think our Zombie Eldlich player might have been double checking to see if you could like discard Qinglong off of Qinglong, which you definitely can. And now we're going to see him resolve Lulu here. He's going to add the GG and send a extra copy of Kowloon from deck to the grave. And probably going to use GG here momentarily. This is a deck that I've been forced, I want to say forced to play against quite a bit, because a lot of my friends are actually on this deck now, and with that, a lot of people actually at locals are on VW right now, and I think it's usually like our most represented deck at locals. So I mean, no surprise as to why you guys usually will see VW matchups, because there's always at least 2 or 3 depending on the day. It's still a pretty interesting deck. I think it's like one of the most interesting meta decks in this format, just because like all the different cards they get to play, like Zolkin, Stardust Charge Warrior, Coral Dragon, rank 6s, 9s, even the plays that some builds are doing with Mally and Beatrice. Like, I don't think those builds are particularly better than standard ones like we're seeing here, but it is still pretty cool, very innovative deck. And I think it has a lot of utility. I think it's my favorite meta deck to watch, and I hope you guys enjoy the occasional VW matches, because they may be showing up more with, how much better this deck is going to be come the new format with Crossout and E-Tele. But, with, that, playing this deck more and, being exposed to it more, just comes, like, the added knowledge of knowing what to hand trap, what cards you can even hand trap, right? Like being able to bell cards like Lao Lao and GG, ashing things like Lulu, making sure you're not playing into Gamma, because this deck loves to run Gamma and can play it to a T, because, a lot of their best effects, like if they open up City, go play a Chuche, and if they have a Lulu in hand, it's going to be very tempting to ash the Lulu, but keep in mind, you are just going to play right into a Gamma. Sure, you could take the risk, right? Maybe it's a very simplified game state. At that point, I would say it's okay, but, you do run the risk of running right into a Gamma, which is not good. That's going to help them plus like crazy. But we're going to see him climb into Shen Shen here, and a Charge Warrior, which will get him a nice draw. And just like that, we've arrived at one of the best boards that VW can make, which is just Chuche Shen Shen. It's not a lot, it doesn't look like a lot, but it is a really good board, playing under Macrocosmos with a Raigeki break, hand traps to boot possibly, or cards like Imperm. Really, really solid board. Keeping plenty of resources in hand for the next turn. Also recycling some resources too there with the Chuche. That's why the Charge Warrior got banished, because he used the Chuche to pop his own Charge Warrior. And now we're going to see our Zombie Eldlich player start off with the Pot of Prosperity, hoping to probably draw an out to the Shen Shen here, which is going to be easier said than done. Being a very graveyard reliant deck, Shen Shen is going to hurt quite a bit. Foolish Burial, Necroworld Banshee, and the Conquistador. So we'll see what he takes. Copy of Foolish Burial, I think, makes the most sense. Foolish sends obviously from the deck to the grave, and Shen Shen only banishes cards sent from the field to the grave. So Foolish will be able to technically help play around a card like Shen Shen, which is great. Going back to what I was saying earlier about the hand traps as well. One thing that I find typically to be bad against VW are those negation hand traps, like things like Mourner, things like Valor Imperm. Although, you know, I would agree that, you know, normally they aren't that great, but I feel like more so they are gaining more purchase just because so many decks are on Zolkin. And Valor or Imperm on Zolkin is really, really strong. But it's like, you know, you can hand trap VW all you want. If you're not hand trapping in the absolute right places, it's going to be hard to stop them from establishing Chuche Shen, because this is a deck that if it's piloted well, you can still end on Chuche Shen even in like 2 or 3 hand traps. It's been done. It can be done. And it's pretty scary. Like, the deck is really good at what it does. And is obviously only going to get better from here on out. I know I'm gassing up VW quite a bit, but like, it's a really good strategy and is not to be underestimated. And I want to kind of get some, you know, tips and, you know, bits of advice out on the table, you know, to help you guys have a better chance at possibly beating this deck, especially as a Marincess player currently. Shen is kind of an FTK, so like making sure you have your outs and make sure you're hand trapping at the correct time. Make sure you're playing the correct hand traps, of course. You know, is all very, very important in helping to secure the dub. So we saw the Shen get easily outed here by Golden Lord. Very, very good engine out. And then I'll be able to swing in for 3,500. And then now we're going to see the Hakero getting banished in the end phase to go set one from the deck. And it's going to be a Elixir, I believe. Probably going to be Scarlet Sanguine is what I can imagine, because this is a zombie Eldlich build, so you don't always have to worry about tutoring out a Golden Lord off of the Scarlet Sanguine. You can actually tutor out other zombie monsters like Necrolord Banshee. Things like that help to play into a strategy a bit more, turning everything into zombies, you know, which kind of compare with Floodgates, like Rivalry of the Warlords. You know, everybody knows the classic zombie world rivalry, like very hard lock to play through. I mean, obviously depends on the deck if they really care about types and things like that, but you know, it's pretty hard to get through sometimes, especially if you're not maining Spell and Trap Hate. Which, you know, I can't really blame people for not maining Spell and Trap Hate, because like it's not really a format where I feel like that's warranted for the most part. Maybe a little bit, but like it's not like 3 Twin Twister is mandatory in every main deck right now. I just don't think that's the right meta call, even moving forward. So, as expected, we are not seeing another Golden Lord get shotgun summoned off of the Elixir. It's going to be a Necrolord Banshee, which I believe can just tribute itself to activate a zombie world from the grave or deck. I could be wrong on that, but it does basically just tutor out zombie world. And it's going to pass it over to our VW player. And, you know, starting off with the Kieran. Kieran is going to successfully resolve, targeting Chuche. Will be able to send a monster, and with it, another spell. So just a double Foolish Burial. You got to love to see it. A Searcher and an Extender. Granted, he already has another Qinglong Engrave that we saw got their turn 1. But, you know, more follow-up is more follow-up. Definitely can't hurt to have that. Now we'll see what he's going to go ahead and activate next. Going to be a copy of Lao. And I may have missed something. I don't know. But I know our VW player resolved Gigi the previous on his first turn. And he had Lao in play too. Or Lulu in play. So I don't know if he added that back. I see both Gigi and the Lulu are banished. So I'm assuming that maybe he did not add it back. Which is a little strange to me. But we'll see if it all makes sense here in just a moment. We're going to see him activate the Roshi. Roshi will send copy of Chuche, and Roshi is going to bring back a Nyan, which is currently not a tuner because it was not brought back off of its own effect, because a level 3 was not normal or special summon, just using Roshi's effect to revive a VW monster in the grave. And we see him set up another rank 9 play here. We could see a rank 6. We could see him go for a Zolkin, but we're going to see him go for Fan. It's a really, really awesome card. It is a worm. And this is one of those cards that I feel like helps the deck play around things like Rivalry. Really, really great removal card. And it's going to get met with a Solemn Judgment, which, I mean, rightfully so. Fan is a really, really good card. Very scary card to deal with, especially if you are playing a deck like Zombie Eldlich. Banishing one from field and then one from grave. Like, that's really, really strong. Banish potential trap or banish Golden Lord and then another, you know, Golden Land trap from the graveyard. Really, really solid overall. So now we're going to see Shen activate Engrave. It's going to banish Fan and Roshi, and it will get met with a Solemn Strike, so paying even more life points here, knocking him down to 2,500 to our VW player's 45. and still has plenty of follow-up here, still plenty of gas in the tank. Has not used Qinglong yet, so we'll see him activate that. He has the discard in hand, which is important. One thing you have to pay attention to as you're playing VW is their resource management, especially when it comes to their hand size and what they have in hand available. Because I think VW is one of those decks that's as broken as it can be sometimes, especially just how good Shen Shen is and how easy it is to get into as a floodgate. It's a deck that I feel like was designed well and is, kind of balanced. Because like you have really good cards like Qinglong and Zhanwu, but they all require you to discard, so they kind of like keep you neutral on hand advantage, which is really, really nice. I think that's one thing I really liked about the deck, and I think that's something we're starting to see a lot more going forward. We're starting to see cards have higher activation requirements, which I think is good. I think it's healthy for the game. I think it makes decks not be able to snowball advantage like crazy. It keeps decks more balanced and kind of slows the power creep down, because if every deck is just getting Rhoda, why would you ever play cards like Signet Mining, etc., right? That's kind of like the trade-off that I'm noticing. We're seeing less Rhodas and seeing more Signet Minings, which is really nice. I kind of would like to see that going forward. And less pay 2,000s to summon the funny fusion man, if you know what I mean. But we're going to see him synchro now up into the Coral Dragon, one of my favorite synchros in the game. I remember those Dark Illusion days, pulling that out of my box that I won. I think way back in the day. A little bit of lore real quick as he resolves Gigi, dumping Nyan Nyan. And we'll see Nyan Nyan effect activate Engrave. I did win a few box tournaments back in the day when the Dark Illusion was released, and I think I was playing Mermail Kaijin. I think I won 2 of them back to back. And I remember out of both of those boxes, I did not pull a single Pot of Desires, which is hilarious, right? And the person that I beat that got second, they always pulled better than me. They got 12 packs, I got a box. The person who got second always pulled better. I guess I got the bragging rights, but like no desires. I think the one I pulled a Coral Dragon, and the other one I think I pulled like a Checkpoint. It was called. It was like a secret rare trap from Dark Illusion. I don't know if anybody knows the name of the trap, but like it was not good, and it's still probably worth like $1 today. Yeah, bragging rights, I guess. But that's why I love Coral Dragon, because he was loyal. And I did play that card in Mermail, played it in probably a few other decks too. Just a really good generic synchro. Allows for removal, and then when it hits the graveyard, you get to draw a card. And who doesn't love drawing cards? Leave a like if you like drawing cards, right? So, not much to go through on our Zombie Eldlich players board right now. You just have Golden Lord, which is still boosted by 1,000, which is not a huge deal. I guess that's kind of what is making our VW player think about, how do I get over a 3,500 monster that can't be destroyed by card effects, especially since Fan has already been exhausted. I saw him looking at Ptolemy M7 in the extra deck. Could possibly go for Utopia Prime. That would definitely out it. So I think he's just probably thinking about what is the most, optimal way to go about this. Granted, he's probably also thinking about a way to go for game right now. Because, I mean, if your opponent's only at 2,500, you're probably going to want to think of a way to game him right now and not let the game grind on any longer. Because, let's be honest, Eldlich is not one of those decks that you can really afford to do that against. You do not want them to keep grinding, keep resetting their traps every turn, because it's going to be a grind game that sometimes you may just not win. So now we're going to see Chuche activate. That is going to pop the Necro World Banshee. So the Golden Lord currently cannot be sure. He's going to remake the Fan that he summoned earlier. That got Judgment. He just recycled it back into the deck with Chuche, and now summoning it again. And we're going to see him banish the Scarlet Sanguine, and with it, Golden Lord. And he's going to go ahead and find game right there with Fan and Nyan Nyan. You got to love to see it. And, yeah, it took him a little while, but sometimes you do got to take that moment and think about those plays, because it's better to think than it is to rush, because you will definitely get punished by that. So, VW taking it right there in Game 1. And as we head into Game 2, I want to mention a quick shout-out to Imperium Duelist. If you guys are interested in picking up amazing cloth playmats, deck boxes, dice, binders, and more, check them out at the link below. And don't forget to use my discount code WinnerKills10 off at checkout to support the channel and save some money in the process. And if you guys are buying anything on TCG Player, please do not forget to use my affiliate link down in the description below. Anytime you guys shop and check out using that link, a small bit of the revenue from your purchase goes right back in the channel. And if you guys are going to be buying any Burst of Destiny, the new Tin of Ancient Battles, and you're shopping on TCG Player for it, please do not forget to use my affiliate link. It helps out a ton at no extra cost to you guys for stuff you're already going to be picking up. So definitely don't forget that. There'll always be a link to it in all of my videos in the description. So Zombie Eldlich opting to go first here, which is not shocking. We're going to see him open with Unizombie, and our VW player is going to respond with Ash, which I think is okay. I think that's a pretty good spot to Ash. One thing I've always found, like with decks like this, is like holding Ash for Scarlet Sanguine is always pretty good. But I mean, again, in instances like this, there are more than one ways to get to the Golden Lord, so it doesn't always matter. Unizombie is a pretty good card at the end of the day, and things kind of change a little bit with like what cards to Ash and not to Ash, because this is not pure Eldlich. Pure Eldlich would be a little bit easier to kind of play against, but now that, you know, things are a little bit different, and this is like a Zombie Eldlich deck, and there's a lot of different factors to take into account. So we're going to see him make Zombie Sucker here. Not Zombie Sucker, Vampire Sucker. Thankfully, that card is not real. But Vampire Sucker is going to bring out the Ash, and that will allow our Zombie Eldlich player to draw a card because a zombie was summoned because of Vampire Sucker's effect. But I don't think our VW player is complaining about that at all. He says, you get a draw, I get a level 3 tuner on my field, which is going to help him out greatly. I mean, it is going to turn off Gamma, but, like, you know, you'll take it, right? Definitely take it. Could be worse. So there is City for Chuche. Does he have the Lulu to go with it? Let's see. Did he open City, Lulu? How good is this virtual world player? That is the true merit of a VW player, is if you can open City, Lulu the most in any given tournament. But now we're going to see Twin Twister, which is kind of strange, actually. Now that we know he's opened Twin, I'm a little confused as to why he didn't just start with Twin Twister. I mean, again, might just be my unfamiliar with VW. If there's a better way to sequence it, I don't know. Because he just lost a Chuche, I feel like, unnecessarily to a Cosmic, which could have been played around by just, you know, standby phase, Twin Twister, hit 2 sets. I mean, the only other good thing to come out of this is that he did clear a Solemn Strike, and, you know, getting rid of the Cosmic then, I guess, is okay. But, you know, hitting the Cosmic with, you know, not having a target would have also been really good. But we're going to see him Prosperity for 6. And Prosperity is especially nuts in this deck because, like, and Desires, too. Like, no wonder the pot cards get played so much in this deck because, like, any card that you get banished off of either Prosperity or Desires, you can literally just get back off of Nyan Nyan. Sure, it takes a little bit of setup, but, like, it's not hard to do whatsoever. It's so incredibly good. E-Telly getting activated here to summon out Nyan Nyan. It's going to trigger Nyan Nyan Engrave. The Bell gets thrown, and which is unfortunate because our VW player's last card in hand is going to be a Roshi, which is also bellable, and I think would have been a bit more higher impact than belling a Nyan Nyan, but then again, you know, it is what it is. If he has it, he has it, so it'll bring back Nyan Nyan regardless. The only downside, it is not a tuner now, but he already has a nice level 3 tuner on his board already, thanks to Vampire Sucker, and that is Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. So he could set up a rank 3 here. We could see Bamboozle or Fortune Tune in this case, which is basically equals, hey, I'm going to try to Zeus you with 4 materials. That's kind of what that means. It's just that's literally what Fortune Tune is. I am a Zeus hater. I hate that card. I wish it would not be legal. The card is so oppressive and so easy to get into. I just don't like it. I really don't. I know I may be in the minority with that, but, like, the card is so incredibly easy to summon and is so, like, absolutely unfair in certain situations. And literally sometimes when it gets summoned, like, the game is just over. But, you know, it is what it is. So we will see the Sanguine get activated, the last trap card. It will get banished, thankfully, to Shen Shen, so he has no, you know, graveyard recursion. Summons out Golden Lord, and that will trigger the Vampire Sucker effect. Battle phase, he's going to destroy the Vampire Sucker, and he'll take a little bit of damage with the Shen Shen over top. And we'll see him attack the Golden Lord with the Fortune Tune. He'll take a little bit of damage there, but it's completely fine. And also, yes, our Zombie Eldlich player is taking half damage currently because of Pot of Prosperity. Almost mispronounced it there. But since the Nixie's monster did battle, here comes a double board wipe thanks to Downard. And there is Zeus. He doesn't even need to use it, just going to hold it. And, you know, his opponent is not going to be able to out that very, very easily. And VW taking it 2-0. So if you guys want to see more of my content, click on one of the videos popping up in the bottom of the screen right now. Last but not least, I want to give a special thanks to our Divine level channel members who go above and beyond to support. And they are Cadillacs84, Pony Stark, Keith Sidgers, Daryl Best, and Tweeter0226. Thank you guys so much as always.